My name is Chloe Bennett, and I was 27 years old when my phone lit up at 2:13 in the morning with the first voicemail from my mother in 7 years. By sunrise, there were 43 of them. Some were only a few seconds long. Breathing. Crying. My name repeated over and over like a prayer she suddenly remembered too late. Others sounded panicked. "Chloe, please pick up. You need to call us back. It's about your sister." Then the last voicemail came in at 5:41 a.m. And my father, the same man who told me never to contact this family again, said something that made my stomach drop straight through the floor. He knows the truth now. I sat up in bed staring at my phone while rain hit the windows of my apartment in Portland hard enough to sound like static. 7 years. 7 entire years without hearing their voices. No birthdays. No holidays. No apologies. Then suddenly, 43 voicemails in one night. Before I tell you why they called, hit subscribe and tell me where you're listening from tonight. I always read the comments, especially on stories like this one, because people who've gone no contact usually understand each other in ways nobody else really can. Anyway, to explain what happened that night, I have to take you back to when I was 16. Back when I still thought my family loved me equally. We lived in a white 2-story house outside Minneapolis with a wraparound porch my mother never let anyone sit on because she said furniture faded in sunlight. Everything in our house was like that. Decorative. Untouched. Carefully arranged to look perfect from the outside. Especially my younger sister, Madison. Madison was 2 years younger than me and beautiful in the effortless kind of way people forgive things for. Blonde hair, perfect smile, varsity soccer captain, straight-A student who somehow cried at exactly the right moments whenever she got caught doing something wrong. And me. I was the difficult daughter. Not rebellious. Not reckless. Just inconvenient. I noticed things. Like how my dad would scream at me for coming home 10 minutes late but laugh when Madison snuck out entirely. Or how my mother framed every single one of Madison's awards in the hallway while my debate trophies stayed in cardboard boxes in the basement. Small things. Tiny cuts. The kind you convince yourself don't matter until one day you realize you've been bleeding for years. The first time I understood how far they'd go for Madison happened during my senior year. I came home early from debate practice because my coach got sick. I walked into the kitchen and heard my parents arguing in low voices. "She cannot find out," my mother whispered. My dad sounded exhausted. "We don't have a choice anymore." Then Madison started crying. Not normal crying. Weapon crying. I said I was sorry. I froze in the hallway. A second later my father noticed me standing there. And the entire room changed. That was the thing about my family. They could rearrange reality faster than anyone I've ever met. My mom smiled too quickly. Madison wiped her tears instantly. My dad asked why I was home early like I was the strange one. I knew something happened. But I didn't know yet that my family had been hiding a secret that would eventually destroy all of us. 2 weeks later, the police showed up at our house. I still remember the reflection of red and blue lights across our dining room windows. My father stepped outside to talk to them while my mother gripped Madison's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. I looked at my sister. "Madison, what happened?" She wouldn't look at me. Then my father came back inside and pointed directly at me. "Go upstairs." Not asked. Ordered. 3 days later, everyone at school started looking at me differently. Whispering. Stopping conversations when I walked past. By lunch period, someone finally showed me the Facebook post. A girl from school had accused me of stealing prescription pills from her backpack during a debate tournament. My picture was attached. My full name. Hundreds of comments. I couldn't even breathe reading it because I had never touched those pills in my life. But Madison had. I found that out 6 hours later when I overheard my parents again. Only this time, I heard everything. "She would have ruined her future," my mother snapped. "So we ruin Chloe's instead," my father shot back. "It'll blow over." Then silence. And my dad said the sentence that changed my entire life. "She's stronger. She'll survive it." I think something inside me permanently broke when I heard that. Not because my sister stole the pills. Not even because my parents covered for her, but because they chose me to sacrifice. Like it was obvious. Like it was practical. Like my pain simply cost less. The investigation at school lasted 3 weeks. I lost my debate scholarship. Friends stopped texting. Teachers looked disappointed every time they saw me. And my family let it happen. Madison never confessed. Not once. The night I left home, I packed one suitcase and waited until everyone fell asleep. But before I walked out, I stopped in the kitchen. My father was sitting alone at the table in the dark. For 1 second I thought maybe he'd stop me. Maybe he'd apologize. Instead he said quietly, "If you leave now, don't come back blaming us for your life." I remember staring at him thinking, "You already blamed me for someone else's." Then I left. And for 7 years, I never went back. I built a quiet life after that. Community college first. Then university. Then a marketing job in Portland. I got an apartment with plants I kept alive and a coffee shop downstairs where the barista knew my order. Peace felt strange at first. Like wearing someone else's clothes. But eventually, it started feeling normal. Until the voicemails came. 43 messages in one night. At first I thought someone died. Then I listened to voicemail number 19. Madison was sobbing so hard she could barely speak. "Chloe, please," he found the court records. I replayed it 3 times. Court records. Then voicemail 26 hit me harder. My father's voice. Shaking. "He knows you took the blame for her. He. Not they. A boyfriend. Husband." I kept listening. Finally, voicemail 38 explained everything. Madison was engaged. And her fiancé had discovered old records connected to the theft accusation from high school. Except now. Madison had confessed the truth to him. Apparently she thought honesty would clear the air before the wedding. Instead, her fiancé demanded to know why the family let me take the fall. And when he learned what they did, he left her. Cancelled the wedding. Moved out the same night. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Because Madison had also told him something else. Something I never knew. The pills she stole? They belonged to a teammate recovering from surgery. That girl almost got removed from the soccer team because the medication was missing. And when school administrators blamed me, the stress triggered severe panic attacks that followed her for years afterward. I sat there in silence listening to strangers' pain unfold from decisions my family made like it was all some manageable little lie. Then came the final voicemail. My mother. Barely audible. "Chloe, your father had a stroke tonight." I closed my eyes. And suddenly every emotion I buried for 7 years came back at once. Anger. Relief. Guilt. Hatred. Grief. I flew home 2 days later. Not for forgiveness. For answers. The hospital smelled exactly the same as every hospital. Bleach and coffee and fear. When I walked into my father's room, he looked smaller than I remembered. Weak. One side of his face slightly slack. My mother started crying immediately. Madison couldn't even look at me. And for a minute nobody spoke. Then my father whispered, "I was wrong." Just that. For words I waited 7 years to hear. But weirdly, they didn't fix anything. Because apologies after consequences arrive don't feel the same. They feel cornered. Then Madison finally broke. She started sobbing, trying to explain how scared she'd been back then, how she thought our parents would protect her, how everything spiraled too far. And maybe the most disturbing part? She was telling the truth. That family system poisoned all of us differently. Then my mother said something I still think about constantly. We thought we were saving one daughter without realizing we were losing the other. The room went completely silent. Because for the first time in my life, somebody in my family finally said the truth out loud. I didn't scream. I didn't explode. I just asked one question. If the wedding never fell apart, would you have ever called me? Nobody answered. Which was answer enough. I stayed 3 days. Long enough to help my father into physical therapy once. Long enough to have coffee with the girl whose pills were stolen and apologize face to face even though none of it was technically my fault. long enough to realize healing and reconciliation are not always the same thing. Before I left, Madison stopped me in the hospital parking garage. She looked exhausted. Older somehow. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said quietly. I nodded. "Good." She flinched, but I kept talking. "But I also don't want to hate you forever." And that was the most honest thing I could give her. We still don't talk much now. My parents text occasionally. Sometimes I answer. Sometimes I don't. Boundaries aren't cruelty. I had to learn that the hard way. But here's what I know now. No contact didn't destroy my family. The lie did. The favoritism did. The years of protecting one child by sacrificing another did. All no contact did was finally force the truth into daylight. And sometimes families only look functional until somebody stops absorbing the damage quietly. If this story meant something to you, tell me in the comments. Have you ever had to walk away from people you loved just to protect yourself? And if you stayed until the end, thank you for listening. Sometimes surviving your family becomes the first step toward becoming yourself.